you begin installing your InPro rigid sheet material, acclimate the product, adhesives, and all wall substrates to room temperature 24 hours before installation. Also, allow your sheet to lay flat for 24 hours before installation. The wall substrate must be dry, well sealed, and free of dirt, loose paint, wax, and grease. Glossy surfaces may require sanding or priming to help promote adhesion. Remove any cleaners on the wall as they may affect adhesion. Maintain temperatures between 65 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit before, during, and after installation. Humidity should be below 80%. InPro Bond or XT 2000 Plus adhesives can be used to securely adhere rigid sheet. Use a metal straight edge and a sharp utility knife to cut sheet. Do not cut through the sheet in one pass. Use multiple passes to score and cut through the sheet. Sheet length should be no more than a maximum of 12 feet long. Installation of InPro rigid sheet. Apply InPro Bond adhesive to the wall with an 1/8 inch V-notch trowel with 1/2 inch spaces between the V's. Keep the trowel at a 45-degree angle. Temperature and humidity affect cure time. For porous walls, allow adhesive to cure until 60 to 65% translucent. This may take 45 minutes to 3 hours. Do not wait longer than 3 hours. If needed, fans may speed cure time. Install the sheet material when the adhesive has become translucent or when it becomes tacky and does not transfer to your finger. Position the sheet on the wall at your desired height. Please note, repositioning of the sheet can be done for 20 to 30 minutes after it's initially applied. Roll every square inch of the sheet with a heavy-bodied extension roller from InPro. There are two options for covering the seams between two pieces of rigid sheet. Option number 1, vertical divider bars. If using vertical divider bars, first measure the size of the trim you need and cut the trim with a utility knife. Place trim onto the rigid sheet before adhering the sheet to the wall. Use small amounts of painter's tape to set the trim in place prior to adhesion. Position the sheet on the wall to line up with previously installed rigid sheet. Rolling over the trim piece secures the back of the trim into the adhesive. Roll every square inch of the sheet and the trim piece with a heavy-bodied extension roller from InPro. Installing a top cap. Measure where vertical trim will intersect the top cap. Use a utility knife to notch out space for the vertical trim to intersect the top cap. If you do not notch out the top cap, it will sit directly on top of the vertical trim, causing the trim to bulge in that location. Slide the top cap over the sheet. Now tap the top cap in place. Rolling the top cap secures it to the wall. Option 2 for covering seams is to use vinyl color matched caulk. Adhere the sheet to the wall, leaving a 1/16 inch gap between your rigid sheets. That's the thickness of a penny. A top cap should be installed prior to applying the vinyl color matched caulk. Apply painter's tape to both edges of the sheet and top cap to protect the sheet from the sealant. Use a caulking gun to apply InPro vinyl color matched caulk. Use a putty knife to scrape off any excess caulk. Immediately removing the painter's tape prevents the caulk from drying into the tape and pulling away with it. If shrinking occurs, reapply seal using the previous steps. Installing an inside corner. If installing an inside corner, first tape off the sheet to protect it from the InPro Bond. Apply InPro Bond adhesive to the wall at a 45-degree angle with an 1/8 inch V-notch trowel with 1/2 inch spaces between the V's. Temperature and humidity affect cure time. For porous walls, allow adhesive to cure until 60 to 65% translucent. This may take 45 minutes to 3 hours. Do not wait longer than 3 hours. If needed, fans may speed cure time. Install the sheet material when the adhesive has become translucent or when it becomes tacky and does not transfer to your finger. Remove the painter's tape. Measure and cut the corner trim piece. Place the trim onto the rigid sheet, allowing space for the top cap before adhering the sheet to the wall. You can use small amounts of painter's tape to keep the trim in place prior to adhesion. Position the sheet on the wall to line up with the sheet already installed. Roll every square inch of the sheet with a heavy-bodied extension roller from InPro. Immediately remove any adhesive from the rigid sheet. And it's just that easy. You've just installed InPro's rigid vinyl sheet.